It's time for some Thanksgiving football. What's going on, BLV football fans and gridiron gamblers? It's Mitch here with another week of my NFL picks, but this isn't just any other week. It's time for some Thanksgiving football, and with Thanksgiving football, you must have a side of Thanksgiving bets. So in this video, it's not going to be like any other picks or best bets video. Oh no, for Thanksgiving football, I'm going to give you not only my straight up pick, but my spread pick, my over-under pick, and a best bet for each one of these games on Thursday and Friday. Because, of course, we not only have 3 Thanksgiving football games, we also, new to the NFL, have a Black Friday game. So I'm going to give you my best bet for each one of these games. If you would like to know exactly what I'm betting for Week 12 and Thanksgiving football, head over to my Patreon. The link will be in the description. It'll also be the pinned comment. That is where you can get all of my verified bets for Thanksgiving and for Week 12. $3 a month. $3 a month. We had a great week on Patreon, despite having a pretty rough week on the channel. So sometimes that happens, because I do picks here on Wednesdays. And sometimes opinions change, bets change. Sometimes I don't always bet just the spreads. So head over to Patreon if you want to know what I'm doing for Thanksgiving football. So let's break it down. Let me know in the comments what you think about each game and what your best bet is. First game, the Green Bay Packers take on the Detroit Lions at Detroit. Total is 47. Detroit, obviously used to playing Thanksgiving football. They know what it is. They know what the atmosphere is like. And what I love about backing Detroit in this spot is this is like the marquee game for Detroit every year, right? This is not a team that knows what playoff football is like. This is not a team that's used to playing in NFC championships, Super Bowls, or primetime very often. So they get an opportunity every single year to play in front of their fans in Detroit. Not only that, they're a good team. They only have 2 losses on the season this year. So that means there's energy, there's excitement. This is a highly anticipated game for the Lions, especially considering it's against their greatest rival, the team they hate more than anyone else, the team that their fan base despises, the Green Bay Packers. When it comes to the Lions on Thanksgiving, they have been favorites only 3 times in the past 20 years on Thanksgiving. And they have covered each time they've been the favorite. Typically as well, favorites in these Lions games are hitting 80% versus the spread on Thanksgiving. So what you want to do in these Lions games, if you want to back the trend, is just play the favorite on the spread. And the favorite happens to be the Lions. Not only do I think that trend-wise this makes sense, but also from a matchup standpoint, while the Packers did get destroyed earlier in the year, at home, at Lambeau, I feel like this game and this matchup is just a bad matchup for the Lions. For the Packers. I do feel the Packers are playing better football. I do think that Jordan Love played one of his better games against the Chargers at home last week. I do feel like Matt LaFleur is starting to get the run game going, the offense in rhythm. I thought they played well against the Steelers and deserved to win that game despite losing. That was a tough spot on the road. And I do feel like, again, 2 weeks in a row where pretty good offensive production against a good defense in the Steelers and not a good defense in the Chargers, but a good offense in the Chargers. We saw the Chargers play the Lions. They went back and forth. It was a shootout. So I feel like the Packers are playing better. But when you think about the matchup, the Packers on offense, their stability comes from the run game. So Aaron Jones is out for the year. That's not good. That's probably their best offensive player. He's out, right? The offensive line of the Packers, you may remember, got dismantled in the last matchup against the Lions. They just destroyed the Packers, and that was in Green Bay. This is in Detroit. So the run game, I don't think is really going to be there. It's not going to be active, right? This is not Justin Fields where he's a scrambling quarterback, he's a running quarterback, he's a threat with his legs. Jordan Love is not. This is a traditional rushing attack that the Lions know well, and the Lions are good against the run. That is their thing on defense. They will stop the Packers from running. If you make Jordan Love a drop back passer instead of a play action guy, it's not going to go well because this offensive line can't hold up on the road. The receivers and Jordan Love in general has had the lowest expected completion percentage in football. He's been inaccurate. He's been antsy. He's missing guys open. He's missing the read. And that is the type of offense the Lions want and need to play, right? They've been picked apart against good quarterbacks like Justin Herbert. This is not Justin Herbert, right? This is a matchup that the Lions really like on defense. They stop the run. They put Love in awkward positions. They pressure Love. It leads to turnovers. Jordan Love is not reliable, and he's not going to be reliable in a big pressure spot on the road versus a good football team in the Lions. You also have the other side of the ball where Joe Barry is a terrible defensive coordinator. This is a complete mismatch. Barry versus Ben Johnson. It's one of the best OCs in the league versus one of the worst DCs in the league. So I think the Lions run the football on the Packers. They're very bad at stopping the run, the Packers traditionally, and again this year. That keeps the pass rush at bay. The Lions are one of the few teams that can actually dominate that line of scrimmage against the Packers when it comes to the pass protection. Jared Goff just had a bad game at home versus the Bears. I highly doubt he turns it over multiple times in this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not exactly the best matchup for the Packers. There isn't really anyone, unless they shift Alexander into the nickel position, that's not exactly what he does. That is not a good matchup for them, typically where he aligns. So you have one of those weapons. You've got a tight end in Laporta, who I think is going to provide problems for the Packers. Safeties and linebackers. I feel like this is a really bad matchup for the Packers. It's on the road, prime time, young quarterback, young team, don't know what it's like. It's going to be lit in Detroit. This is the biggest game of their season. This is a Dan Campbell, get the boys going type of spot. And I could see the Lions blowing the Packers out by halftime. I think this is going to be a good bet for the first half, -4.5. I think this is, you bet the Lions -7.5 in the full game. I think the Lions will win the game. And while I do believe the Packers are playing better, I just think this is a bad matchup and a bad spot for Green Bay. So I'm going to go likely over 47. That wouldn't be my bet, but I'm going to take the over 47 for the picks. I'm going to go 7.5 as the full game bet. And I'm going to do first half -4.5. That would also be another bet that I would look at as well. I'll get to a secondary bet that I like a lot. That's going to be later on because it involves another game. But Detroit -7.5 is the play for the first game on Thanksgiving. The second game is the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone kind of knows, or at least you have the feeling in the back of your mind, in the pit of your stomach, that the Dallas Cowboys are not good on Thanksgiving. Like, I didn't know the stats until I looked them up, but just the feeling over the years has been Dallas does not show up on Thanksgiving. They don't play well on Thanksgiving. And the stats definitely indicate that. So Dak has lost 6 straight first halves on Thanksgiving Day. Dallas is minus 7.5 in the first half of this game. Keep that in mind. 1-11 ATS are the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving over the past 12 games. That is crazy. Plus, you combine that with Sam Howell, who is 5-1 on the road versus the spread this season. So he typically plays better on the road for whatever reason. So Dallas is bad on Thanksgiving. Dallas doesn't cover on Thanksgiving, 1 for 12. Dallas is really bad with Dak Prescott in the first half. I think you have to take the points with Washington plus 11 here. I actually think I like the first half plus 7, maybe even more. That's debatable. But plus 11 feels inflated because there's a lot of Cowboys fans out there. There's a lot of Cowboys fans that will be backing the Cowboys. So this number might even go up, but it's already inflated. This is not a great matchup on paper for Washington. When you think about the corner position taking on CeeDee Lamb, the pass rush of Washington trying to get after a good offensive line at Dallas. I think Dak, on paper, it feels like Cowboys should move the ball. The Cowboys should have success. Washington did beat Dallas in that final game last year in 2022. So keep that in mind, right? Sam Howell is 1-0 against the Cowboys. That is a real stat, right? One thing that I think will make Dak uncomfortable, perhaps, is the interior duo of Washington pushing the pocket, because that is how you can disrupt Dak Prescott. He's more of a pocket quarterback. So if you can get pressure up the middle, you can force mistakes and potentially get some stops. As well, Dallas's run game has been hit and miss all year, and their receiver play outside of CeeDee Lamb has been a bit inconsistent. So I feel like I don't expect Washington to hold Dallas like under 20 points or anything like that. I really think that if Washington makes this game competitive, it's due to the offense. Because Sam Howell, he's been making big play after big play after big play all year. A lot of people are not going to want to back Washington here because they're coming off an embarrassing loss, but that's the exact reason you back Washington. There's all the reason in the world after losing to Danny DeVito and now playing a team like Dallas where Washington, maybe they were looking ahead. But really, it feels like Washington, Ron Rivera, this is a big spot for him. His coaching life is on the line. This is a team that this might be their last hurrah. This might be their Super Bowl. And Sam Howell is a gamer, man. I do like Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown. These receivers can make plays and they can run and they can get down the field. And I do feel they can separate and beat man coverage. And I do think Sam Howell can scramble and make plays and run. And I do feel like Eric Bieniemy will have a good plan here offensively in a big spot. So I think that Washington actually might move the ball better than people think in this game. So I really like the over 48.5. So I'll sprinkle a little bit on that. I might be on Washington plus 11 just to back the trends. And really, I think Dallas wins the game straight up because they're the better team. They're at home. They should take care of business. They can't afford to lose this game. But there is reason to believe that they probably won't cover on a short week. So I'm going to go Washington plus 11, Dallas to win the game, and over 48.5, backing some of the trends. But also my gut feel is that Sam Howell is going to have a good game here. And then the third and final Thanksgiving matchup is the Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. This game is in Seattle. Total is 43. San Francisco is currently favored by 7, although there might be 6.5s out there as well. It's been kind of flirting back and forth between 6.5 and 7. So, just look whichever side you like. If you like Seattle, try to find a 7. If you like San Francisco, try to find a 6.5. Now, you guys know me. I'm not about the business of fading the 49ers. Now, the 49ers last year did cover against Seattle, not once, but twice. And I want to say they covered 3 times because they also beat Seattle in the wild card round as well. I think it was 41-23. That was a high-scoring game. San Fran beat Seattle 27-7 in San Francisco last year. That was actually the game that Trey Lance got injured and Jimmy Garoppolo went in. And then later in the year, Brock Purdy played the Seahawks and actually played them twice. He was great in the playoff game. But the earlier game, they won 21-13 in Seattle. So that was the closest game, the game in Seattle. And it was decided by 8 points. The spread is 7. So keep that in mind for what it's worth. Kenneth Walker, he's injured. He'll be out of this game. The running back, the explosive back for Seattle. So that hinders their running game. Geno Smith is also banged up but expected to play. So how injured is he is a question. A couple trends to think about for this game. Thanksgiving primetime games under 11-5 to the under. Okay? And then you got to go primetime games this year, 25-8 to the under. So it's telling you to take the under. I can actually disclose with you that I bet the under 43.5. So I've already bet the under in this game, although it's 43 now. I'd still bet the under. I think you play the under here. The main reason is the Niner defense playing a lot better. They're turning the ball over. They're getting pressure. They're really getting after quarterbacks. And I don't think Seattle's going to run the ball very well in this game. I think that's going to force Seattle in a lot of 2nd and 3rd and longs. And I feel like that is where San Francisco's pass rush can go to work because Seattle's not a very good offensive line. I think you can get pressure after them with 4, and I think San Francisco will get sacks, pressures, hurries, tip balls, interceptions, fumbles, all that sort of stuff. So I think San Francisco's defense will dominate. Charvarius Ward's been a really good matchup for DK Metcalf in their past few matchups. And like I said, I don't expect Seattle to run the ball that well. I do think Brock Purdy and the Niners will have success on offense, but I don't think it will be like 30, 31, 34 points. I do expect Seattle's defense to play fairly decent here. I expect out of San Francisco somewhere between 24 to 30 points, where I think they'll move the ball pretty well, but Seattle's defense has been stingy this year. They've been really solid, and Leonard Williams helps them get some size in the middle of their defense to help stop the run and Christian McCaffrey. They do have good corners that can play man coverage. I do feel like, Seattle's defense, especially at home in a primetime setting, is going to give San Francisco a tough test. It's not going to be easy for their offense, although I would never count out Kyle Shanahan from working some magic here. But I overall expect San Francisco's defense to be the story. I think San Francisco likely covers, and I will be taking San Francisco, hoping for a 6.5, but I'd also take them -7 in this game, and I've already bet the under. Okay, so that's my look. I'm going San Francisco -7 or 6.5, wanting the 6.5, under 43. I'm not quite sure what the first half is, but the trends say take the under in this spot. So the under would be the best bet. And what I was talking about earlier, I'm combining the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers for a teaser play. So you would take San Francisco from 7-1 to win the game by 2 points, and you would take Detroit down from 7.5 to 1.5, again to win the game by 2 points. So Detroit and San Francisco in a 6-point teaser, down from 7 to 1. Detroit from 7.5 to 1.5. Both teams need to win by 2. That might be the best bet of this entire video. I know a lot of people will be playing it, but I think it's the correct play. And last is Black Friday. We've got the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. Total is 41. Spread is -10 for Miami. I don't have a great feel overall for what we're going to see from the New York Jets here. They were really bad against the Buffalo Bills. And I've been ranting about the Jets offense for weeks. And I'm not quite sure why I persuaded myself into taking the Jets. I think last week I took the Jets because of the history between the Bills and the Jets defense playing Josh Allen. Last week, that didn't happen. I think Mike McDaniel will have an overall pretty good plan here to just keep Tua out of trouble. I think Miami should be able to run the ball pretty well against the Jets. And I think Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they'll make plays. I also feel that Miami's defense is trending upward. They're playing better. They're dominating the line of scrimmage. They're getting after quarterbacks. In my opinion, Tim Boyle is easily the worst quarterback imaginable in a big game that you could start. I mean, this guy is bad, like outright bad. You think Zach Wilson's bad? This guy is even worse. So I'm going to be taking Miami -10 at home because when they're at home, they didn't do it against the Raiders. Raiders have a more respectable offense, I would say. They're a better team than the Jets, in my opinion. The Raiders are just playing better football. The Jets are distraught. They're out of it. They're done. Like, the Jets fade them for the rest of the year. Like, they're really bad on offense. They can't block. They won't block the Dolphins. And I just think Miami's offense is too well schemed to let the Jets' defense dominate this game. So I'm going to go Miami -10. I'm going to go under 41 because I don't think the Jets are going to score more than 17 points at the absolute most. So I'm going to go under 41. That might be the best bet, but I also like Miami -10 and obviously Miami to win the game. So those are my picks for Thanksgiving football, for Black Friday. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, Gronk spike the like button and subscribe. It's Mitch. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking for the rest of my picks this week, Wednesday night live, I will be picking the rest of week 12. And then my best bets will also be out on Wednesday for the rest of the week 12 slate. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to check out Patreon, link in the description. And we'll see you on the live streams. Peace.